Hey guys, pretty difficult video to set up, so I gotta sit on the floor here with my flat ass. I'm too old for this shit. Because if I use the wide angle, you lose a lot of resolution, and I rather have people see this in how it is now. So I refinished these speakers. They have 3 layers of polyurethane on there. Beautiful. These were originally black. Previous owner sanded them down. They have the beautiful birchwood look to them again. Love it. I think the finish turned out so great on this speaker. That's why I wanted to showcase it a little bit, where it's nice and glossy and really perfect almost. Um, Klipsch. Now, I was always on the bandwagon. I was not interested in Klipsch loudspeakers. And that has to do with the fact, quick story, background story. About 25 years ago, I would say, I had a La Scala. I had the opportunity, back then they were still affordable, to buy a La Scala in birchwood, completely lacquered birchwood. Beautiful to look at, huge folded horn, 15-inch, you know it. Also, I bought at the time a really expensive amplifier to go with it. It was the Jadis Orchestra reference amplifier, EL34 integrated amplifier. Really beautiful piece of kit, and it never hit me right. It was a speaker that dropped off so steep in the low end for a 15-inch. I was really disappointed, kind of, with that speaker. So it lasted maybe 3 or 4 months. I didn't tinker too much with it. I was like, I'll just roll with it until I find something else. And a couple of months later, I sold them. I never looked at Klipsch again. And I think that is a fallacy that we have as audio enthusiasts in general, where we tend to gravitate towards, oh, we've heard one, they're all shit, they're all crap, I don't want to hear them, they're all the same. It's not really fair, of course, because, I mean, this brand does have a huge, pun intended, heritage. If you look at the Klipsch horn, that speaker is produced since 1948. Klipsch fans will correct me probably. I believe 80 years of production. There has to be something good about this speaker. All right, there has to be something there. It's one of the longest produced speakers in the world. Paul Klipsch was not stupid building these things or designing them. Now, I'm not going into the nitty gritty of specifications of these speakers. I think that most people that are fans don't know what these are. KG stood for Klipsch Group. These are birchwood cabs. They are 3/4 inch, I believe, thick. Then we have no, not 3/4 inch. I'm not sure. This is not 3/4 inch. What is it? Half inch, maybe? Not sure how thick these are, to be honest with you. Could be 3/8 for all I know. But it's pretty thin. Then we have a MDF baffle, which is 3/4 inch thick. I knew that for a fact. And then we have two 10-inch drivers in here, and then we have a Trax horn. So these Trax horn are not to be confused with their compression horns. Compression horns are a completely different animal in itself. You find those in the Heritage series in the upper line. This still had a dome in there. It was a special hardened dome, which a lot of people seem to modify it towards a titanium Kreitz dome. So that is, I would say, an advantage of Klipsch. There is a huge, ginormous fan base for them and a huge modification a community for them. There's tons of information to be found about any Klipsch that you can think of, especially in the Heritage, KLF series, and KG series. You can find almost anything for them, and modifications and upgrades, especially towards the horn end of it. I believe this is a two-way. I don't think it's a 2.5. I believe it's a two-way. And what makes this very interesting for me is that it doesn't have a mid-range horn. So if you go into a Heresy and up, you get basically a compression mid-range horn, which is a steel, I think a K77 horn, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I can make some mistakes here, guys. Don't bite my head off. I'm not, the huge Klipsch fan yet. Honestly, this speaker surprised me. It has a couple of really good qualities to it that I cannot get out of my other system. And it's not surprising. Each design has its own flaws and its own perks. Now, the perk here is that the detail that comes out of this Trax horn is quite incredible. It was quite stunning. We have put this speaker through its paces, and it plays everything pretty darn well. And I think that a friend of mine, shout out to Colton, who has a KLF, a heavily modified KLF, actually. I would argue one of the most modified KLFs on the market. Once he's done with it, he described them exactly how I felt when I was sitting here, and I said it multiple times. And we were talking. In the beginning, I was not so warm for them, but I turned warm for them once I placed them in the correct room and with the correct system. In my main system, it won't work. In my main room, I will walk through standing waves, so I had to move it to this system with the small tube, and it's fantastic. It really sounds good. And he described them best, and I absolutely agree. Are they refined? No. Can they be quite forward sounding? Oh, absolutely. But it also gives you something that most speakers are really are not capable of doing what this speaker does. And it's not indicative to just this speaker. It's the Klipsch sound. They sound incredibly live. It's like you're having this live experience right there in your room. If you play a rock piece of rock on this or some metal or whatever, it blasts, man, and it's in a good way. It's not in a bad way. It's not like we sitting there, oh my god, my ears. Now, I will not argue when some people that have super hearing, 15K and up, they might get some ear fatigue there. I understand that. I also believe that system matching is still a thing, synergy is still a thing, your room still plays part in it, but these speakers in spades, the detail coming out of these horns was just absolutely stunning. Also, it locked in the center image like that. It was very effortless. Voices are straight up in the middle here. It was not a problem to listen to this speaker at all. Extensive listening, depending on the music choices. It's a little bit music choice, determined. I would not listen to metal all day long on this because, yeah, your ears will yangle off. But that being said, I don't even like metal that much, and I would not play that on any speaker in loud volumes because it will fatigue me regardless. But they go also incredibly loud with very little input from the amplifier. The amplifier on a quarter open will send these things into war strength. They're 98 dB on the sensitivity scale. It's very sensitive. You don't need much to run these things. And I think that's a huge advantage with Klipsch. Klipsch, of course, is known for that. They're very sensitive speakers. They don't need much wattages. That was also, I think, a design goal from Paul himself, to have speakers that were very easy to drive and could fill a room really easy. And definitely, you can hear it back even in the KG series. Then I read a lot about people saying it has a recessed mid-range. I don't really agree. I don't have that issue whatsoever. However, I'm not sure how that translates towards the Heritage series that has the mid-range compression driver. Of course, if you're used to a compression driver in the mid-range, then yeah, I can totally imagine that you feel that this is kind of anemic sounding in the mid-range. Where these really shine, where the other Klipsches usually have a little bit more issues, is the low end. The extension was excellent in this room. I would say 35 hertz, no problem with these speakers. Which, God honest truth, with the La Scala that I had back in the past, I couldn't even get close to that. It was always 45, 47 hertz. It lacked some of that lower octave, dynamics to it, which this speaker does. Like we have been surprised a couple of times and go like, oh, it's doing it, Yeah, what else is there to say, guys? Am I now a huge Klipsch fan? Per se, no. But do I feel that I've misjudged him? Yes, I do. There is a particular sound that these speakers produce. It's also a particular build quality to these speakers, which I find, for the prices they ask, kind of questionable. But it is also the sound of Klipsch. There's no bracing in this cab. There's absolutely no bracing in this cab, and that's kind of indicative to many Klipsches out there. But it also, I believe, the birchwood was a very deliberate choice, and a very deliberate choice to have it this way. I think that these speakers were designed with in mind. These cabs are a part of the instrument, and they sound really good for what they are. If you see these loudspeakers, I think fair market value, $600, $700. They go up steadily. I gotta say, there's one for sale for 900. I wouldn't spend that, but $500-600, yeah, you have a great speaker for that money. I would argue you have a speaker that is really competitive in that price class and up. Um, if you go for pure smooth, refined sound and relaxation, this is not the speaker for you. This is not the speaker. But you like that real powerful, explosive live sound, these things will do that better. Even better, I would argue, than my RS1 in many ways, which was very surprising. And yet it's not. Horns are known for that too, let's face it, right? It's a big difference when you have a driver doing this or a driver doing this. You know, it's way more focused. It's way more, pushed towards you. But guys, that's my verdict on them. I absolutely like these speakers. Um, there is something else coming tomorrow. I'm going to pick up a Heresy. So I'm actually getting a Heresy. So it kind of motivated me to kind of try something else out, of course, and more into the Heresy series. I know those are smaller speakers, but this is a relatively small room. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to do. And then we have the mid-range compression driver as well. So that's going to be very interesting to see what that's going to do. Now, all this talking, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I know normally I don't really do reviews. Some people ask me like, hey, what do you feel now that you spent some time with them? I think that there's definitely something in the Klipsch line that is out there, which I could fall totally in love with, for sure. This is a very good push into that direction, for sure. So guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.